These are the lecture notes from the week 8 topic of vertebrates, and we're going to just focus on the primates. Okay, so hold on. Sorry. Let me find them again. So we're just going to do the primates, and that starts on slide 57, actually. So there we go. All right, so one thing that all primates have is the way we normally say it is it's not written on here anywhere, but is opposable thumbs. And that's basically what they're saying when they say there's a big toe that's bigger than the other digits and it's separated from the other toes, and then a thumb that is widely separated from the fingers. That allows for grasping or gripping the branches, and for us it just allows for grasping, whether it's a tool or right now I'm grasping a mouse, but a lot of times you'll hear that described as opposable thumbs. So that's normally what we say that all primates have in common is opposable. Okay, opposable thumbs, which allows for gripping or grasping. And another thing that primates have is a rotating shoulder joint. That's number 1 up here, and that means that you can throw a ball, for example, and stereoscopic vision, which allows for depth perception. So stereoscopic vision, which allows us to, for example, for humans, it allows us to tell when to start applying the brake, to judge the distance that it is to when we have to stop when we're in our car. So those are traits that primates have that other mammals don't have, okay? Another one, by the way, is flattened fingernails. Forgot to say that. Okay. Now, primate groups are divided into 2. You have the prosimians, which are the lemurs, and the tarsiers are the most common. They tend to be nocturnal. They're active at night, and they're typically smaller. They have a smaller brain and a smaller size. We see lemurs in zoos a lot of times. I know they have some at the zoo in Asheboro in North Carolina. And the lemurs come from Madagascar. That's where they're naturally from. But they do live in captivity in other areas, including the United States. So the prosimians typically very small and nocturnal. And then the anthropoids are all the other primates. So they include monkeys, apes, and humans. All right. There's a section here on ape evolution, and it's just saying that the monkeys and the apes had a common ancestor, but they separated and evolved into monkeys and apes about 25 million years ago in Africa. Apes are more intelligent than monkeys. We have the lesser apes, and we have, which includes the gibbons and the siamangs. The gibbons are probably the most common, the most well known. But then the great apes include chimpanzees and bonobos and gorillas, orangutans and humans. So the great apes are typically well known by people. The chimpanzees and the bonobos are more closely related to humans. Then there are gorillas, orangutans, and the Homo sapiens or humans. So, and you can see the skeletons of the different great apes that are shown down here in the picture. I think this one, I don't have that. Let me look at it from the see. I was just going to see if it told me anything in this view. It really doesn't. I mean, this looks like, to me, a chimpanzee. I know it's a chimpanzee or a bonobo, but I'm really not sure. I think it might be a bonobo. But anyway, we definitely know it's one of them. Okay, and then this shows, when we get to the humans, this shows the evolution of modern humans. So you don't have to know all of these different groups, but basically, starting here, we have the family. Well, we have the ancestor of the ancestor that was common to the baboon and the rest of the apes. Okay, so then there, at this point, there comes a ancestor that has the gibbon, that diverges between the gibbon and then a common ancestor to the rest of the apes. And then we've got an ancestor that diverges into the orangutan and something that's common to the rest of the apes. So, and that would be the gorilla, the chimpanzee, the bonobo. So once we get down here, this is only human ancestors. Okay, so once we're in this, in fact, right here, once we're in this particular area of the phylogenetic tree, these are only human ancestors. There's nothing in common with these animals, these primates, with any other apes. So sometimes you'll hear that we evolved from monkeys, and that's really not what happened. We have a common ancestor to monkeys, according to the evolutionary evidence, but that doesn't mean we evolved from monkeys. We evolved separately into our own, our own species, our own family, genus, and species, actually. This is a skull of an Australopithecus afarensis, and one of the most common fossils of this particular species is called Lucy. Australopithecus afarensis. This is all the fossil bones that were collected from Lucy. We know that it's a female based on the pelvic bones, for one thing, and there are other signs. But if we go back to our phylogenetic tree, the Australopithecus afarensis is right here in the phylogenetic tree. So that's one of the oldest fossil. It is the oldest fossil that has been found of humans, or human ancestors. So there's also a human ancestor called Homo habilis, and habilis means handyman. So this species used stone tools. And then there was Homo erectus, and erectus means walks upright. And because this species was able to walk upright or erect, this was the first hominin or human species to migrate out of Africa, and also to use fire, hunt, and have a home base. So going back to our phylogenetic tree, we have the Australopithecus afarensis, and then other species that are that share an ancestor. There was also a group that seems to have, we don't have any ancestors from this group left on Earth or from the Australopithecus group. But it does seem that the rest of the humans evolved from a third ancestor, and that third ancestor is what eventually formed into the Homo habilis, the Homo erectus, and then the three groups that are associated most closely with human evolution: the Neanderthals, the Homo heidelbergensis, and the Homo rhodesiensis. One of those is compared to a hobbit in the movies, because it's so short. But anyway, we're Homo sapiens, and the last couple of slides, we have modern humans probably arose in Africa from Homo erectus, migrated out of Africa about 100,000 years ago, and then modern humans replaced the Homo erectus species, like the Neanderthals, and that's just a brief, summary of what we think happened and how modern humans evolved. There's a lot more in the study plan if you want to read it. But let's do a quick review of the vertebrates. Okay, so what are the common characteristics of chordates? All right, let me make this back into a slide view. All right, the common characteristics of chordates. Remember, there's 4. I'm not going to write them with my mouse, but I am going to say them. The 4 common characteristics are that chordates have a dorsal nerve cord. The only phylum to have of animals to have a dorsal nerve cord. That means the nerve cord runs along the organism's back. And then a notochord, which is a supporting rod for the dorsal nerve cord. So we have the dorsal nerve cord, the notochord, pharyngeal gill slits, and the postanal tail. Now, all the fishes have in common that they have gills, and that they have either a 1 or 2 chambered heart. They are exothermic. Some of them have jaws and some don't. And then we have the amphibians, which have a 3 chambered heart. They have 4 limbs. So they're able to live on land, although they often have to live in wet environments because they do supplement breathing with lungs by breathing with their skin. And then we have reptiles, which lay amniotic eggs. They're the first to lay amniotic eggs. And they have a 3-chambered heart with a septum, or even with the crocodiles and the alligators, we have a 4-chambered heart. Birds have similarities to reptiles, but they are endothermic like mammals. They lay amniotic eggs, but they don't have mammary glands, of course, so that distinguishes them from the mammals, and as well as other characteristics. Mammals have hair and mammary glands, and remember we had 3 groups of mammals, the monotremes, the marsupials, and the eutherians or placental mammals.